We have spent 9 episodes building the machine from the ground up. You now understand what a large language model is, how it reads your words as tokens, turns them into meaning, holds a limited window in mind, samples its output, focuses with attention, and runs on real hardware. That is the engine. Starting today, the series turns to driving it. And the first and most important skill, the one that more than anything separates people who get brilliant results from people who get frustrating ones, is the craft of writing the input itself. It goes by a slightly grand name, prompt engineering, and there is a lot of mystique around it, with people trading supposed magic phrases. We are going to strip that away. Because once you understand how the model reads, prompt engineering stops being superstition and becomes a small set of techniques you can actually reason about. Quick note before we dig in. If you find this useful, subscribe and drop a topic you want explained in the comments. Now, let us get into it. Let us start with why prompting works at all. Because the why makes every technique obvious. Go back to the very first episode. A model is a next token predictor, and it is context-aware, which means every word it generates is shaped by the entire text you have put in front of it. The model is not answering your question out of some fixed knowledge. It is continuing your text in the most probable way, given everything you have written. Change the text, and you change what is probable. That is the whole secret. Your prompt is not a command you bark at an obedient servant. It is the context that bends the model's probabilities toward the answer you want. So good prompting is simply the art of arranging that context so the most probable continuation is the thing you were actually after. Everything that follows is just specific ways of doing that. So here is the whole idea in one sentence. Prompt engineering is deliberately structuring what you tell the model, its role, your examples, and the shape of your request, so that the response you want becomes the response the model finds most likely. Now let us get concrete with the 3 techniques that carry most of the weight. The first is the system prompt, and it is the most underused tool by everyday users. When you build on a model, your input actually comes in 2 parts. There is the user message, the specific thing you are asking right now, and above it sits a separate standing instruction called the system prompt. Think of the system prompt as the model's job description, set before the conversation even starts and quietly enforced for every turn. It is where you assign a role and lay down the rules. You are a senior financial analyst who explains things plainly to non-experts. Always answer in British English. Never give medical advice, instead suggest seeing a professional. The user never sees it, but it shapes everything. Assigning a clear role genuinely matters, and it is not just theater. When you tell the model it is an expert tax accountant, you are steering it toward the region of its training where careful, technical, accountant-style language lives, which raises the probability of the precise, professional answer you want over a vague, generic one. The consumer chat apps set a system prompt for you behind the scenes, which is why the assistant has a consistent, helpful personality. The moment you build your own tool, writing that system prompt well is one of the highest leverage things you do. The second technique is the one with the most almost magical payoff, and it is the direct, practical use of an idea we first met in episode 1 in context learning. It is called few-shot prompting. The plainest way to ask a model for something is to just describe it. That is called zero-shot, no examples, just an instruction. It often works fine. But when you need a specific format, a specific style, or a specific kind of judgment, describing it in words is clumsy and showing is dramatically better than telling. Few-shot prompting means you include a couple of worked examples right in your prompt, before the real request. Suppose you want to turn product reviews into a tidy rating. Instead of explaining the rules, you show it. Review, the battery died in a day, rating 1 out of 5. Review, fast shipping and works perfectly, rating 5 out of 5. Then you give it the new review and stop. The model, being a pattern continuer, sees the established pattern and completes it in exactly the same shape. You taught it the task in the moment, with no retraining, purely through examples in the prompt, which is in context learning in action. 2 or 3 good examples will routinely fix formatting and consistency problems that paragraphs of instructions could not. When a model keeps not quite giving you what you want, the fastest fix is almost always to show it an example instead of describing harder. The third technique is the least glamorous and quietly the most important. Structure and specificity. The model cannot read your mind. It can only read your text, so vagueness in equals vagueness out. Write me something about dogs is a coin flip. Write a 100-word paragraph for a vet clinic website explaining why annual checkups matter in a warm and reassuring tone has almost nowhere to go wrong. A few concrete habits do most of the work here. Be specific about the length, the tone, the audience, and the format you want. Tell the model what to do rather than only what not to do, because a positive instruction points it somewhere, while a negative one just fences off one spot. When a task has several steps, lay them out as steps, because a clear sequence is easier for the model to follow than a tangled paragraph. Use clear separators, like putting a document you want summarized inside obvious markers, so the model can tell your instructions apart from your data. And here is one that pays off everything we learned earlier. Place your most important instruction near the end of a long prompt. Remember from episode 4, lost in the middle, and from episode 6, attention favors the edges. A key instruction buried in the center of a wall of text is the one most likely to get the least attention, so you put it where the model looks hardest, at the end. There is also one more move worth knowing. For anything that needs reasoning, a math problem, a logic puzzle, a careful decision, simply asking the model to think step by step before giving its final answer measurably improves the result, because it gives the model room to work through the problem in its output instead of blurting a guess. We will go much deeper into that idea when we reach agents later in the series. A quick word of honesty, because the field has a hype problem. Prompt engineering is real and valuable, but it is not a bag of secret incantations, and as models get smarter, they get more forgiving of sloppy prompts, so you do not need to obsess. The durable skills are the boring ones, being clear, being specific, showing examples, and structuring your request, and those will keep working no matter how the models change underneath. So how does this land depending on who you are? As an individual, this is the single highest return skill on this entire list, because it costs nothing and improves every interaction you will ever have with these tools. Just being specific and showing one example will lift the quality of your results more than switching to a fancier model. As a startup, the prompt is not a casual thing you type. It is part of your actual product, often the core of it. Your carefully tuned system prompt and few-shot examples are real engineering assets that you test, refine, and version like code. Because a better prompt can be the difference between a feature that delights and one that embarrasses you, with no change to the underlying model at all. And as a large enterprise, prompting becomes a managed discipline. Teams keep libraries of tested, approved prompt templates, version them, and review them so that the behavior of AI across the whole organization is consistent, safe, and on-brand, rather than every employee reinventing it and getting wildly different results. So let us bring it home. Prompt engineering works because the model continues your text in the most probable way, so arranging that text well is how you make the answer you want the likely one. Set the role and rules with a system prompt, teach the exact format by showing a couple of examples with few-shot prompting, and be specific and structured, putting your most important instruction where attention is strongest. It is not magic words. It is clear communication aimed at how the model actually reads. Now, in this episode, we kept bumping into one recurring need, getting the model to return its answer in a precise, predictable shape, a clean rating, a tidy list, a structured record. We faked it here with examples. But when you are building real software on top of a model, hoping for the right format is not good enough. You need it guaranteed, every single time, in a form your code can read. In the next episode, we get exactly that, with structured output and JSON mode. That is the core of it. If this helped, hit like and subscribe, ring the bell for the next deep dive, and tell me in the comments what you want broken down next. Thanks for watching.